Today, the industry is at complete shut-off stage. There is very little bit of delivery that is happening, but that is really more like providing an essential service than any commercial activity. And this is on not only since lockdown. We had actually given a call about a week before the lockdown to shut down voluntarily. Of course, the reason was very different. It was more to do with the health risks of the employees and our guests. Now, what does this mean for us is almost like it creates a crisis which is existential in nature for us. It is a matter of survival for us. And I'll tell you why. The numbers are very clear. Today, the industry is worth over 4 lakh crores annually, out of which the formal sector is 1,75,000 crores. Now, our proportion of fixed operating expenses are pretty much 40-50% of our revenue, which is in place today. So, when there is zero revenue and your expenses are there, how do you fund it? We don't have the money to do it. So, it is going to create lots of failures in the business. And that is a very, very serious problem. Today the business is next to nothing. The sector today provides direct employment to 7.3 million people. And this is not counting the indirect employment that we provide to, for example, a housekeeping agency, a security agency, and a whole lot of drivers, suppliers, delivery boys, etc. Today, with zero business and the prospects looking little gloomy, the prospect of job loss in the sector looks very, very, very serious. Because understand, out of 7.3 million people, even if there is a very, very, easy 20% job loss, you're talking about 1.5 million jobs being lost. And what do we do today? See, there is no income and we don't have the cash reserves to keep paying our employees. So what are we doing today? Yes, whatever is possible, every single resource that is available to us through our cash reserves or through deferment of various expenses that the government is doing, we are deploying every single penny of that towards these cause. But things are going to get worse now. Please understand, as and when the business reopens, things will be even worse with from a commercial perspective. Because the business will start at probably 30, 40, 50% of normal, and that will mean that many businesses will not be able to sustain. And the bottom line is as simple as that. If there is no business, there cannot be any jobs. This is very serious human issue we are facing. We understand that the primary focus of the government right now is to somehow tackle the whole menace of COVID-19. But at the same time, what we are representing is very human issues. So what do we expect from the government? I'll put it in 3 different buckets. Number 1, we are saying give us the ventilator support. Now what does that mean? Give us enough money through either ESIC or through other sources so that the kitchen fires of our employees are kept burning. That is very, very important, because if these guys suffer, we will have a problem to kickstart the sector altogether. This is ventilator. Number 2 is, once we are ready to kickstart the business, one of the biggest support that we will require other than tax rebates and everything is easy availability of working capital without collateral, probably at a very low interest level, with moratorium. I don't know what all. We will require every support to just make sure that we survive the onslaught. Business in the post-COVID era will not be the same. It'll be very, very difficult, and it will be very difficult to sustain without these supports. And finally, we require lots of policy supports, primarily amongst them 2 that I would like to mention. One is about restoring input tax credit on GST, because that is taking up our fixed operating expenses very high and thereby making it very risky. And number two is a very, very good and fair, equitable e-commerce policy, because that's the business of the future, currently highly unregulated and I think very loaded in favor of the aggregators. We need a level playing field for everyone in the ecosystem, and that is the only way to save the sector.